Hello everyone, sorry for the little technical difficulty with the microphone. So thanks for attending this Voltimum webinar. My name is Maxime Dupont. I work at Legrand as a category manager for a few product portfolios, including smoke detectors. So we'll be doing a short presentation today covering a few things, including the different type of technologies, but also what products we can expect moving forward. So if you have any questions, just use the chat box, and at the end of the presentation, I will try to answer all of them and go through one by one. So let's start the presentation. I just thought as a first slide, I'd give a bit of, I guess, facts or background in regards to house fires that occur in domestic applications. So just to let you know, there's about 50 deaths a year in Australia that are caused by accidental house fires. So these are really fires caused by inside your house by faulty wiring or electric blankets or faulty products. So this does not cover bushfires or anything like that. So yeah, from accidental fires, you have about 50 deaths a year in Australia. Also, that impacts 11,000 residential premises every year in Australia. So that's obviously a big issue for example, insurance companies that have to cover all this, and obviously that has a cost impact on every person. Most house fires happen in colder months, so from pretty much now until September, and that's usually when you start using heaters and things like that that can create this sort of accidental fires. So some of the most common causes of residential fires are caused by kitchen stoves, also people smoking in bedrooms. It can be also caused by faulty wiring, lighting. Lighting, you can think about things like downlights, which can get pretty hot, especially using old technologies. You don't have the same issues, I guess, with LED, or not as much. It can be caused by home heating or flammable liquids as well. Another fact that's quite interesting is that a fire doubles approximately every minute, and in about 4 minutes it can pretty much entirely have your house on fire. So why is that important? Obviously, that shows you that having the right devices, the right smoke detectors, and installed in the right place is critical for everyone. So for you as a contractor, but also for people like end users. And people tend to forget how important those devices are in case of emergency. Another fact is that the response times for fire brigades is between 4 to 20 minutes. And as I was mentioning before, in just 4 minutes, your house could be already on fire. So you need the right device that can alert you as soon as possible to obviously evacuate the house and take proper actions to sort this out. And the last point that for me is quite important, but that's also a worry, and that's our jobs as manufacturers or contractors to educate people, is that most households in Australia don't have any fire escape plan in case of a house fire. So that was just to give you a few facts about house fires in Australia. Now I'm going to move between on the topic between ionization and photoelectric smoke detectors. Okay, there's both technologies currently sold in Australia, and I just want to make sure that everyone understands, I guess, the key elements of each technology. So we start with ionization technology. This technology was the first one that was introduced on the market before photoelectric, and ionization works really well with fast flaming fires. Okay, so what are fast flaming fires? Obviously, you have a lot of flames and very little smoke. An important point is that fast flaming fires rarely occurs in domestic fires. Okay, what happens in most domestic fires is what we call smoldering fires, from plastic that burns or that melts or things like that. So fast flaming fires, is detected by ionization, but rarely occurs in domestic applications. This technology is slightly cheaper than photoelectric, and that's why the majority of the volume, so the majority of the smoke alarms sold in Australia are ionization, okay, because it's much cheaper. But that said, as I was saying just before, it's not the best technology for residential. So some of the cons, ionization is more sensitive to, can create a lot of nuisance alarms. So these are alarms that are caused by steam or draft or things like that. It responds really slowly to smoldering fires, or at least much slower than photoelectric technology, and might not give you enough time to escape the house. So that's why ionization, I believe, and we believe at Legrand, is not the best technology for residential premises. Ionization also contains a small amount of radioactive material, so it's not enough, it's not a large amount so it can affect your health, but still, long term, I believe it's a technology that will, I guess, disappear because one of the reasons also, is because of that radioactive element. This technology is already banned in Northern Territory here in Australia and in Europe. Now, in regards to other states, we don't know yet, but what we know for sure is that most fire departments or authorities are pushing for the other technologies, which is photoelectric. So we can expect in a few years to have ionization to be banned here in Australia. And as I was saying, it is already in Europe, so it could happen here as well. And the last point is, yes, most experts believe that ionization does not give you enough protection in residential application. Okay. I'm going to move to the next slide. It's just a slide trying to explain how ionization technology works. So I didn't want to go into too much technical details and not to make it boring, but I think this graph or this drawing explains it quite well. So the way it works in 4 different points. So inside the smoke alarm, you've got 2 electrodes, okay, that are connected to a battery and to the circuit. Inside that, you also have a substance called americium-241, and that substance converts air molecules into positive and negative ions, okay? And basically the negatives are attracted by the positives and the positives are attracted by the negatives, and that creates a path of electricity, and that completes the circuit of electricity. So what happens is when smoke enters the chamber, those ions, they bond with the smoke particles that are generated by the fire, and that breaks the electricity path. And as soon as the electricity path is obviously broken, the smoke alarm would just trigger. So in summary, that's how this technology works. One point I would add as well on ionization is the substance that is used for the radioactive substance that is used for ionization is getting harder and harder to find on the market. So long term, that could also cause an issue for manufacturers like Legrand or any other reputable brands. So that's it for ionization technology. Now we'll move into photoelectric. So I'll start with some of the pros and cons of photoelectric. This technology is ideal to detect smoldering fires and dense smoke. Smoldering fires is what happens in 95% of cases in residential. So yes, this technology is cost you more to buy for a contractor, wholesaler, or an end user, but it is the best technology to protect you against residential fires because most of them are smoldering fires. So that could be a PowerPoint that melts and that creates fire. It could be wood. It could be many things. Okay. The other benefit of photoelectric technology is that it's got no radioactive components used inside it, and it is the technology that is recommended by most authorities. So if you visit a website like the I don't know, the Fire Brigade of in New South Wales, you will see that they recommend, they strongly recommend photoelectric technology because it's a technology that's going to give you the quickest alert to escape your house and hopefully save your life and the life of the people in the house. And the major drawback that I would say currently is that it is still more expensive than ionization. But ask yourself the right question. You know, you may be saving $5 or $10 by buying ionization, but what's that worth compared to saving your life? So I think that's where people have to be more conscious about this technology. So the way it works, as you can see on the little drawing here, I thought that was the best drawing that I found. So you basically have a light source, a light beam inside the smoke alarm chamber, and as soon as smoke gets into the chamber, it basically changes the direction of the beam, and as soon as the beam hits the light sensor, it will trigger the smoke alarm. So it's a relatively simpler technology, but works perfectly for residential fires. So if you have to promote any technology to your consumers, or if you are an end user that want to buy smoke detectors, definitely push for photoelectric technology. Next slide. Here's just a slide talking about the things to look for, some of the things obviously to look for in smoke detectors. So I've just mentioned a few. Obviously, make sure that it passes Australian standards and that it's approved by CSIRO. Usually, you have this little icon, active fire, that is on packaging. We have it for Legrand, but most suppliers have that as well. So that gives you an indication that this product has been tested properly and meet the Australian requirements. Just on a side note, the tests done here in Australia are probably the toughest in the world for smoke detectors. And that's why, as manufacturers, when we submit new products, it takes a lot of time to get them into the market because it's a very, very strict certification. And it's a good thing, definitely. So yeah, it's one of the toughest, and obviously the aim is to make sure that the product perform at their best all the time, so it can save people life in case of fires. The second point, I think for me it's very important, and that applies to smoke alarms, but to any other electrical products, because for me I think it's important, it's to buy from reputable brands. Okay. And that's for me a key point, and it gives you a guarantee that this product will deliver and will perform at its best. Now, in terms of some of the functions, make sure you have a test button so you can try if the smoke alarm is working. It can be just after the installation, but it can be also later on down the track. Make sure it's got a hush button so you can turn it off in case it's a false alarm or in case you've managed to control the fire. Make sure you can also test the battery, or at least the smoke alarm has a battery indicator to tell you when to replace it. On our smoke detectors, if the battery is running a bit flat, it chirps a little bit to give an indication to replace it. Okay. The other thing that's quite important is interconnection. Obviously, if you are in a dwelling where there are multiple smoke detectors installed, it's very important to ensure they are interconnected. The typical case is you have a fire that starts on the ground floor, but you're sleeping in the first floor. You might not hear the smoke detector that's beeping downstairs, so it's important that it's interconnected, so the one upstairs will ring and alert you to escape. Also, for the people that have disabilities or hearing problems, there are a lot of options available on the market. So make sure you find those solutions to better to better choose the products for those people that might have a problem hearing the smoke alarm. So instead you could have a flashing light on the smoke detectors, or you have system that vibrates to alert you in case of a house fire. So there's a few different options that are available. And the last point is to make sure that the smoke detector is kind of protected against insect. So it could be a screen, or it's making sure there's not too much opening on the smoke detector, because obviously that can affect if the insect gets into this product, that can affect its performance, and then you might have to replace it down the track. In terms of installation, so this is more for contractors. So it's just some basic installation guidelines, and I've used obviously our photoelectric smoke detector as an example. So based on this product, at the back of the mounting base, you have 4 terminals. Obviously, you're active and neutral, and there's no earthing because it's a plastic product. And you also have an interconnect terminal, so you can basically bring a cable from one smoke alarm to the other. Okay. So in terms of mounting instructions, obviously ensure that you connect the right terminals to the right terminal block. So once you've done the connection, then you have to mount what we call the mounting base. Okay, so as you can see on the drawing, there's a lot of mounting holes available, so that can suit all your applications if you want to mount it on a joist and all that. Our products most products also on the market now supplied with plugs and screws. So once you've done the connection, you've mounted the base, then you need to ensure that the battery is inserted into the smoke alarm. The legislation states that basically if the battery is not inserted, you should not be able to close the smoke alarm. It's something very important, and why they're doing this is just in case of a power failure, that the smoke detector still operates and it can still alert you. Okay. So that's quite important. So make sure that the battery is properly inserted. We supply our products with good quality alkaline batteries, which you have to replace every year usually. But there's also other options available from on the market. You can buy them also from retailers. Is lithium batteries, which have a longer lifespan, usually up to 10 years. So that's another option that is available. So now, once you've done the connection, you've mounted the base, you mounted the battery, you close the smoke alarm, then just make sure that it's working. Okay. So once you've turned on the main power, just check that there is a green LED on the front of the smoke alarm that tells you that there's power coming to the smoke detector. And it just glows. It doesn't flashes or anything. It's just there. It's green, and it tells you, yeah, it's working fine. Then you have a red LED that pulses every 60 seconds on our model, and that tells you that the 9-volt battery is okay. And as I was saying, once the 9-volt battery runs flat, it's the LED is flashing more often, and it's also chirping every 60 seconds to tell you to replace it. Okay. And then you can also perform some tests. You can press the test button for 5 seconds to just check that the alarm works and the whole system is working fine. And the last point is, but that's something we do not really recommend, but there are some applications where you have to install it on the wall. So if you do install it on the wall, make sure that the hinge is positioned either on the left or on the right, so it doesn't fall off when you open it. The last point that I want to mention is in regards to interconnection. For our product, we recommend a maximum of 300 meters of wires. Okay, so from obviously the first smoke alarm until the last. Okay. Our model, you can interconnect up to 20 smoke detectors. That's more than enough usually in most domestic application. So just to summarize, yeah, not more than 300 meters of cable, and also not more than 30 meters between each smoke detector. That's very important. Um, so that's it in regards to the installation. Now I also have some installation tips in regards to where to position it and things like that. So as a general principle, just when you're installing it, just think about this. Make sure that it is positioned in somewhere where it can actually alert you before the fire reaches you, and also give you enough time to evacuate. So if you think about most fires occurs during the evening or at night when you're using heaters and things like that. So make sure, for example, that it's positioned between close to the bedrooms, not inside, because then it wouldn't give you enough time to alert you, but yet right outside the bedroom, yeah, to give you enough time to evacuate and react to the fire. So best locations are usually in hallways that are leading from to the bedroom. Install at least one smoke alarm on every floor. And also what's important in each sleeping area. So most houses have got all the bedrooms, I guess, close to each other. But there are houses where you could have two bedrooms on one side and another bedroom on the other side. So make sure that you have the right protection on both sides of the house, so everyone is protected. Definitely most smoke alarms are definitely more effective when they're installed on a ceiling, and preferably away from other fittings and away from, not too close from the wall, because the smoke tends to bounce from the wall and goes into the smoke detector, and that can create a lot of new false alarms from when you're cooking or things like that. Okay. Obviously, avoid installing them in kitchens because when you're cooking, I don't know, cooking a steak or something, that can create a lot of smoke and give you a false alarm. Also, avoid positioning it too close, and I've seen this in many residential projects, is smoke alarms installed close to bathrooms or laundries where there's a lot of steam, and that steam mixed with obviously the dust and all that can also false trigger the smoke alarm and yeah, disturb you quite often. And also avoid placing it in areas where there's a strong draft, okay, where there's a lot of air coming in and out. Also avoid positioning it close to exhaust fans, for example, because that would also create some false alarms. Now in regards to installation, if you're renovating or building a new house or new apartments, make sure that you keep the dust cover on the smoke detector. All our smoke detectors, and most competitors do that as well, have a little cover that goes on top of it. And it's just to prevent it against dust that can come from gyprock or things like that. And then you finalize the installation, and then the product is not working properly. So it's important to keep this dust cover until the last minute, until everything has been done. The painting, there's no painting fumes or things like that that can affect also the smoke detector. And last point, but we've already covered that a little bit, is if you're installing multiple smoke detectors in a house, make sure they're all interconnected, so you have a better protection throughout the house. And the last point that I've got is in regards to some of the trends moving forward on smoke detectors. What we expect, but once again, we're not deciders here. We can influence obviously people to take this position, but we believe that ionization technology will eventually be banned in Australia. When we don't know, as I said, there's already one state, it's the smallest one, but Northern Territory is already banning this technology. Yeah, we strongly believe at Legrand that this could happen in the coming years. What also we're going to see moving forward is more dual tech detectors, which will include a photoelectric smoke alarm, but also a carbon monoxide detector. what is also called the silent killer. Carbon monoxide is something that you can't really smell, you can't really see, but that can potentially kill you. And there's more and more of those products on the market, but I think a dual technology type product would be a great addition, and there's already a few out there on the market. What else we're going to see? I think better integration into ceilings. So more low-profile products, recessed models, which are already available on the market. Smaller diameter, also improve the aesthetic. Because obviously on your ceiling you've got other things, and you've got exhaust fans, which can be quite fancy. You have some nice downlights, and the last thing you want is a very ugly product mounted on your ceiling. So I think this, in the future, you will see much better integration into ceilings. And the last point in regards to the trends, and this one it will definitely happen, it's connected homes. So I didn't put connected smoke detectors. Yeah, for me it falls into this broad topic of what we call Internet of Things. So connected homes, where basically, obviously, your smoke detector could be connected through wireless rather than having a cable. Your smoke detector can be connected to your smartphone. So if you're out of range, if you're not at home, it tells you that something wrong is happening at your house. That's one of the main issues with smoke detectors currently. If there's no one at your house, the smoke detector beeps, but if no one is around, your house will just burn. No one can do much. I think in the future you will have systems that will give you also additional information, because all your mobile phones and everything will be connected. So it could tell you how many people are in the house, for example, telling you, okay, all my kids are at home, and my wife as well. It can also tell you where the fire location is, tell you which smoke detector has triggered, and tell you, okay, so that's happening in the kitchen or something like that. Would have systems that automatically alert the fire brigade, so they can respond faster to fires and hopefully avoid big damage and death. And these connected devices, we are seeing more and more patents, even from big companies like Google and Apple, that are working on connected smoke detectors. I think Apple has placed a patent on computers and smartphones with integrated smoke detectors in them. So obviously it's not going to be launched tomorrow, but these are the type of things, these big multinational companies that know connected objects. So I've just mentioned Google and Apple, but that could be LG, that could be Samsung. There's a lot of them that are working in those in this connected home field, because it's definitely the future. For those that are probably aware, I don't know, Google bought a big company called a startup actually. It wasn't that big, but they bought it for $3 or $4 billion. It's a company called Nest, and that were specialized in connected smoke detectors. So yeah, those big players are invested a lot in connected homes, connected solutions, and I think for me that's where the future is. And obviously Legrand is one of the leaders in automation and things like that. So we are also working on this type of solutions, because nowadays everybody has a smartphone, and this will give you the flexibility to not only turn your light on and off with your smartphone, but also be alerted when emergency or fires happen in your house. So on this subject, I think it will happen very fast in the coming years, and we will see more and more devices that are connected to laptops and smartphones. So that's pretty much it for this presentation. Feel free to send me some questions through the chat box, and I will try to answer all of them one by one. Feel free to ask some technical questions or to go into more in depth. Here I've covered mainly the basic on that subject, but we can definitely talk even further. So thank you very much for attending. I appreciate it. And yeah, send me your questions. Thank you very much. Bye. So thank you. I've just had a question from Anthony asking about what are some of the hearing problem features available on the market. The most common ones are smoke detectors with flashing LEDs in them. That's already available on the market. You also have systems where you have like called a vibrator that you can position into your bed, and as soon as the smoke detector activates, it will vibrate in your bed and hopefully wake you up so you can evacuate. So there's a lot of solutions out there, but yeah, the most common ones are the flashing LED and the vibrators. Also a question from Ray asking if a smoke alarm connected to an existing alarm system complies. As far as I know, it still does comply. For me, that's not a problem at all. It still complies. Yeah, Anthony, there's also a question in regards to the RCD, if it's required to protect your smoke alarm circuit. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. That's something I will need to check with our technical department. It's a very good question. I never thought about it actually. But we'll definitely come back to you. I'll get the information from our technical director, and we will definitely send you a response back with the right answer to this question. A question from Tim asking if Legrand is still planning to sell ionization smoke alarms in the future. Very good question. Look, what I can tell you is we will eventually, probably in a few years, exit this technology, because as a leading electrical manufacturer, we believe we need to lead in terms of example, and so I think in the future we will eventually go away from ionization smoke alarms and invest in more solutions around photoelectric and invest in connected solutions, but definitely yeah, with photoelectric and also carbon monoxide detectors. Thank you. Another question from Anthony. Do I recommend dual technology detectors for houses? I think it's a good thing to have, but I believe with a standard photoelectric smoke detector that covers you in most cases. But yeah, to tell you, it doesn't hurt to have both technologies. So to have a dual tech ionization and photoelectric smoke detector. But if I were you, what I would recommend is a dual tech photoelectric and carbon monoxide detector. Another question from Simon. So sorry that you missed the beginning of the webinar. But just so you know, this webinar was recorded and will be published next week. So you can actually go through the beginning of the presentation and check the information that you've actually missed. Another question from Simon in regards to if you need to interconnect existing smoke alarms in case of a renovation. As far as I know, it is not mandatory to have them interconnected. But what is for sure is that if you do an extension or renovation and you did not have any smoke detectors, you are required by law to actually install smoke detectors in this house. But I don't believe, 99% sure, that it is not required to have interconnection, but it's definitely something that we strongly recommend. Just to clarify, yes, I'm on this question. So if you add another bedroom and this bedroom is located in a different area where you had your smoke detector, definitely install a new smoke detector close to that bedroom to make sure that this person sleeping in the bedroom is protected. Also another question from John in regards to the voltage of the interconnect wire. What I will do, John, on this, we have actually a full technical document in regards to the recommended wires and all that for smoke detectors. So I'll make sure that we send you all that information. So that will cover the voltage, but also the type of wires to use as well. So we'll send you all that information in a separate email. Thank you. So I think if that's all the questions for today, and just, yeah, Anthony, we'll definitely send you all the details on the wires as well. That's not a problem. So I just want to thank you again for attending this webinar. If you have more questions, obviously Voltimon has my contact details. I'm more than happy for them to send me your questions, and I can check with the technical team to give you the right answers. So yeah, thank you for your time. I hope you've appreciated the presentation, and I look forward to